I am Mike, and I'm here to present my Swell capstone project. So, who am I? I am an aspiring data scientist, and currently an online marketer. And as an online marketer, we try to deliver the right product to the right customer at the right time. Right? So, I'm also an online marketer at the bank, so I'll focus on the bank products here. So, when we try to market or sell a bank product online, for example, a loan, we try to focus on three things. First is the low interest, second is the high amount of loan, and then third is the fast approval process, like fast approval. So, what if I say to you that we can offer another aspect of a loan product to market it to the customer? And in the next few minutes, I'll try to convince you that there is one thing, that there is one aspect of the loan product that we can offer to the customer. And that is the payment patterns. So payment patterns of credit card, point of sale transactions, and installments. So I'll look into the recency, frequency, and then the monetary value of the transactions of the payment patterns. So I use the home credit CAGR dataset. And so one important question we should answer first, and before I can convince you that payment patterns is really significant for online marketing in a bank product, is that can previous payment patterns affect the current approval decision? Because in the business perspective, you don't want to be in the first figure where there is 1,000 applications, but there is only one approved loan. That is not really efficient. And we want to, however, we want to have, like in the second figure, have 800, a fair amount of applications and fair amount of number of approved loans. So let me ask you a question before I proceed to my presentation. So what do you think the payment pattern of a borrower that will have the most probability that he or she will be approved? Would it be the borrower that has the most recent payments? Would it be the borrower that has the most frequent payments? Would it be the borrower that has higher monetary value of loans or payments? Or the combination of the three factors? So I'll give you at least 10 seconds. Think through it. And actually, using the supervised learning algorithms that I use, I found out that frequency is the key. Frequency is encompasses the number of the delays and the number of required payments for a loan. So why frequency is the key? Because you can see that the number of delays is really high. Those are the points, and those are represented by the points, not in the line. Also an interesting fact is that in average, in average your delay becomes increases by 5 after 36 months. It's just an interesting fact. Also, we can frequency also work hand to hand with recency, because you can see in this graph, the first 1,000 days of the installments is composed of, the 98% of the payments is paid at the first 1,000 days of the loan. So yeah, so imagine that after 1,000 days, the borrower will only pay like 2% of the amount of the loan. So now that we know that frequency and recency is a major factor for approving a loan, how can the borrowers take advantage of the frequency and recency factors? But borrowers cannot really take advantage of these factors, even though we say it to them, because borrowers are not the best decision makers. They sometimes took rash decisions because they really need the loans, or the borrowers lack the knowledge of what's the best payment terms for them. So what can we do? We can suggest payment patterns to specific customer segments. So these are my initial hypothesis for the customer segments that we will discover later. Like the best customers have the best recency, frequency, the best monetary values of the payments. High spending borrowers, low spending, active loyal borrowers are like the opposite of each other. And then the short best customers like have the most monetary value but through low end recency. Yeah. So I use unsupervised learning to gather 4 clusters. And from my initial hypothesis, I got one, the lowest spending active loyal customers, which is described as low monetary payments and high recency and frequency of payments, but high recency and frequency of payments. So even though they have the same payment patterns, they have different composition or demographics. So for example, in cluster 2, it has high external source of income, while for cluster 3, it has low external source of income. Well, also, in cluster 2, they are mostly male. In cluster 3, all female. And in cluster 2, mostly, well, actually the similarities for the both clusters are they have a high position in their occupation type. Because cluster 2, they have managerial occupational type, and for cluster 3, mostly tech staff, which is pretty high. And for other clusters that I discovered is like the average borrower, which has average recency, frequency, monetary. So it has high external source, mostly female and mostly pensioner income type. Then for another cluster is high loader. They have high external source of income, mostly female, mostly staff occupation type. So how can we turn these clusters of customer segments into actionable insights? So I will recommend 4 steps. First, I'll just read it. So first is to minimize, to avoid the borrowers in cluster 1 because payment patterns are pretty average, but the underlying reason is the inconsistent of their source of income, which is mostly the pensioner type of income type. So, and second, to experiment the difference between the cluster 2 and cluster 3 because they have the same payment pattern, but they have different demographics. What are the underlying drivers or barriers that affects the same pattern but different demographics? Third is to convince. We can try to convince because the cluster 2 and cluster 3 have a low spending, but they are loyal and active customers. So we can try to experiment giving the clusters 2 and clusters 3 to have a shorter period of time, and so loan can be paid like more recent and so loan can be paid in shorter periods and high amount of time. Yeah. So and for my last recommendation is to encourage give longer payments to the cluster 4, which is the high loaner, so they can satisfy the high loan that they are requesting. But actually be careful with the recommendation number 4 because they have like slightly inconsistent occupation source. Yeah. So like for conclusion and other considerations, I think that this analysis is generalizable to other spending or payment patterns of other industries because I use the home credit capital competition and it's actually pretty complex. So, and I think those format is also present to other industries. And second consideration is to try to use lookalike audience in marketing online because we have here limited demographics or number of samples of audience that we can use to market online. So we can take advantage of the lookalike audiences in Facebook, Google Analytics. So if you're also interested, see my GitHub link for it. Yes, that's it.